Welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Discount Property Investor Podcast. I am your host, David Dodge. Today, I have an awesome podcast for you all. I have on one of my students who is crushing the wholesaling game. His name is Aaron Eller. Aaron is just doing awesome stuff, so I wanted to invite him on today to talk a little bit about some of the deals that he's done, talk about this most recent deal that he just closed last week that made him almost $30,000, and really just kind of pick his brain a little bit. Aaron is a member of the Discount Property Investor Mastermind, and he, again, is crushing it. So having him on here today is going to provide you all with a ton of value. Aaron, welcome to the show, brother. How are you, man?
Doing good. I just want to thank you for having me on, and it's been amazing to learn from you and just get into the world of wholesaling.
Well, hell yeah, man. Well, I love having you in the group. You are one of my favorite students because you take action. And, it's really, really fun working with you because we tell you or give you guidance on something, and then we talk to you a couple days later, and you've done a bunch of that stuff. You're not just, here to get the knowledge, and that's okay for those who are. But again, I love working with you, man. So it's a mutual feeling. Aaron, do the audience a favor if you don't mind, and give us a quick little intro. Who is Aaron Eller?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri, about an hour out of St. Louis, Winsville, and grew up pretty typical kind of middle class suburbs life. Went to college and stuff. Always been told go to college, get a job, save for retirement, kind of just live that life. And I did it. I was going to Mizzou and stuff. I was a finance intern for a big company and everything, and kind of got the feel of the corporate world. And I've always worked a lot since I was 16, and always been fascinated with trying to make more money, just move up in the world. And after kind of seeing the corporate world and seeing being around a lot of other entrepreneurs and businessmen, I knew that it's just kind of like the climbing the corporate ladder would be a lot harder than just going out and kind of starting a business. I mean, obviously I'm not saying it's easy, but it's definitely possible. And, kind of being around a lot of my bosses and the company, seeing them, how hard they worked over, 20, 30 years. Well, I mean, if I do that in business, I mean, I'd probably be a lot further along. So kind of was, always interested in real estate. I actually worked with a couple realtors, before on some different projects, and knew a little bit, but didn't really know much about wholesaling or kind of investing. And I was actually looking at maybe buying a rental and looking at some stuff on the market. There's not really too many good deals on the market. So, I didn't end up buying any rentals because nothing was really a good deal when it really makes sense that I could find. And then obviously that's how I kind of doing more research on how to find a better deal is how I got familiar with wholesaling and just started it myself, decided to, take action. And what is there to lose really at the end of the day? I mean, if you lose or fail in business, I mean, you're pretty much in the same position if you didn't really take the risk anyway. So just knew that had to just take action and get going and, get surrounded by like-minded people and people who've done it, who can help you and teach you, just like David, being able to be around him and learn from him and his group is just been, amazing.
Dude, we love having you, man. Awesome intro. How old are you, Aaron?
I'm 21 years old.
21 years old. Man, you are super young, which is so awesome, but it just goes to show you that you can do this at any age. I'm 39. I feel like an old man up here. But I got a young soul, man.
Yeah, no, you're definitely a whole lot more active and lively than a lot of other people. So
I love it, man. Well, thank you for the kind words. 21 years old, amazing. What were you doing before you got into real estate?
yeah, so I I had a couple different jobs, right when I was 16, but my main job that I had since I was 16 was serving at Olive Garden. I mean, it was good. I love serving. Kind of it taught me a lot. It taught me, the harder I worked, the more money I made, the more tables I could take, the more tips I made and stuff. So, I mean, I was making good money. I was being able to make, around $1,000 a week, working 4 or 5 days, pretty consistently. I mean, I worked pretty hard and, the more my back hurt when I left, the more money I made. And, I mean, it was good because, I had the time, I had the energy, and I didn't mind, putting in the work. And then also it taught me, that, that the corporate world, it doesn't matter how hard of a worker you are, how good of a worker you are, you're replaceable and they really don't care about you. So, I mean, those two things really, taught me a lot. And, also, making money and stacking some money up to be able to invest in, you know, real estate and business, investing in, education, and masterminds and stuff, joining groups is definitely, the probably the easiest way to get started.
Amen. Absolutely, man. I've been in so many groups and masterminds. I'm in multiple masterminds currently. I mean, it's the best money I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on education, probably 2 or 3 times what I've spent going to college, and it's worth it. It's worth every penny of it, man. So I 100% agree with you there. How long have you been in the program? How long have you been working with me and been in the mastermind?
Yeah,
Rough.
so I guess a few months now I've been started with you, or I met you a few months ago and then kind of joined after that. And it's been good. I was able to do a couple deals kind of before, and then using the knowledge and everything that I learned from you, and get bigger deals and more deal flow coming into, and just keep building it up.
I love it, man. So a couple months. How much did you make on your most recent deal?
Yeah, so that most recent deal I made I made a little under 30,000, so 29,125, I think, to be exact. So
29,000 and change, just under 30 grand. That's amazing. How many deals have you done total in just a couple of months' time?
yeah, so I think so that one closed last Wednesday, and then I think that was my 10th or 11th deal, because I think I told you I had that ninth deal before, and then I closed one Monday, and then I closed one Monday for 5,000, and then I closed the one for 29,000 that Wednesday.
So 35 grand last week.
Yeah.
Woo, baby, that is awesome. That is awesome. All right, here's what I want to do on this podcast. I want to break down that most recent deal. All right. I also want to mention really quickly, guys, you can do this at any age, like Aaron here. You don't have to spend months and months or years and years at this. You can learn how to do this in just a few short months, or even in a few short weeks in some cases. Aaron's only been at this a few months and he's done 10 or 11 deals. He made 35 grand last week, and he's doing several deals each and every month. And again, this is not a difficult business to get into. You just got to have some drive and take some action and have the hustle. And Aaron definitely has that. So I'm just really happy to have him on the show today. Aaron, I really want to break down this most recent deal. Most people could really use $30,000 in their life right now. I really don't know anybody that would turn away a $30,000 paycheck. And that's what you essentially got last week for, buying and wholesaling real estate. And I'd love to hear the breakdown of this deal. So let's start with, where the lead came from, how you worked the lead, what were the steps for you to get the property under contract, what'd you do next, and then ultimately, how did you get paid?
Yeah, so this lead came out. I was reaching out to it actually came from an agent on this lead, but we're kind of working, direct to seller, and we had some hiccups, along the way on the deal, but it's just, making sure, just keep working at it, and get it to the closing table, and when that happens, it's a done deal. So started, I got this lead, came in, from a person sent me the lead as I was doing outreach to them, asking if they had anything, they're wanting to sell and stuff. So I got this lead. She didn't really know what to do. She was trying to help the seller out. So I offered to, pay her a commission or a finder's fee for the deal. And then, just kind of worked on it. So there was, from the beginning, there was, one other
Was it listed?
investor.
Aaron, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but was it listed?
No, no.
Okay. So it was off
And
market. agent had the lead, and then she connected them with
Yeah.
you.
So the agent wasn't even a listing agent on the deal. So when I first got it, she was just trying to help the seller out. She didn't really know what to do with it because it was completely gutted. It was sitting vacant for 10 years. So it was a rough property. Obviously, the only person that's going to buy it is an investor. When it's in that condition. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to take a look at it. Went through everything, looked at it, looked at some numbers. There's some higher comps in the area, some lower ones, but there wasn't too many. This was one of the bigger houses in the area, so there were some good comps for higher. And I started talking to them, kind of finding out, their motivation, why they're needing to sell, why they're wanting to sell, and for this particular reason, she bought it 10 years ago. It's been gutted ever since. She was, her plan was to kind of rehab it and then be able to live in the one unit, rent out the other unit because it was a large duplex in U City, kind of like downtown St. Louis area, for people who aren't familiar. And so obviously that never really happened. She probably didn't have, it seemed like she didn't have the money to be able to rehab it because a project this big was, today, my rehab estimate was probably, at least 150, if not, way more, 150,000, depending on the investor and what they're kind of wanting to do to it. So she just kind of wanted to, sell it because if she's not going to be able to fix it all the way up, there's not really much you can do when it's, down to the studs at this point, besides kind of just sell it
Expensive
as
rehab.
is.
It's a big,
Yeah.
big
So
project.
yeah, so I was talking to her, so I found out her motivation, which is always kind of important when talking to them. How can we make this a win-win? What is the reason for wanting to sell? And then so I found that out, and then kind of the price, like what would make this a win-win? What would you want? So there was another investor that was offering around 200,000 for the house, and I thought my MAO was probably going to be closer to 300,000. I would take a risk, take a shot at it, at least. I didn't know if I was going to be able to sell it for that high, but so I was, obviously very aggressive, knowing, okay, like, definitely want to get this under contract. So, another investor offered her 200,000, kind of figure out, well, why did you not take that offer or whatever? So she was saying, she bought it for $100,000, 10 plus years ago. And then she bought it for 130,000 10 plus years ago. And then she put in around $100,000 into it already. She started the rehab, apparently, but it's been sitting vacant for 10 years. That whatever money she put into it pretty much,
It's probably exterior work, gutting, stuff
yeah,
along those lines. So
yeah,
130 purchase, she had 100 in it. So she's into this thing for 230 grand, essentially.
230 grand,
Yeah,
which
not
is still a
including
good
taxes
deal.
and utilities and insurance and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But those are just cost of ownership. Her essential cost in her mind was what she paid plus what she put in. So it was 230 grand.
Yeah. So right away, so I was like, well, okay, this other investor, is offering, 200,000. And, so I offered her 230,000, she liked it, we're trying to get it under contract and stuff. And then that's when, there was, I sent over my contract for that. And, you know, I was kind of dealing with, like I said, this was a different situation. So it was an agent that sent me the lead, but she was not representing the seller. I was kind of talking to both the seller and like kind of through the agent, but just she wasn't really brokering the deal or anything. And she wasn't familiar,
You're
with my
respecting that
contract. And
relationship that she had. I get it. That makes perfect sense.
yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
So
And did you go
so
meet
we were,
this woman ever at the property?
no, I never met her.
You never even went to the property either?
Not on this one, no. So I
Holy
was out
cow,
of
you didn't
town.
go to the property and you didn't meet the seller. This was all done over the phone. So this is essentially a virtual deal, even though you live, what, 45 minutes away from this place?
Yeah, so I was out of town at that time and stuff. So but then now I'm more back in town. So kind of when I was first getting this under got the
Sure.
lead and was under contract, I was gonna be back, but so I was already under contract by the time I was back in town, so I didn't need to do that. And I and if you are virtual and stuff, obviously it helps being in person, talking to the sellers and everything, and as David teaches and everything. But if you are virtual, just talk to well, my partners are going to come by and look at it, my contractors, just explain the situation. But so we were able to do that. And then, so there was some problems with the agent because, the agent wasn't on the deal, but then she was still seeing what was going on. So she wasn't, as familiar with investors or, off market deals that, don't have an agent involved. So, the contract, wasn't a realtor contract because I'm not a realtor or anything. So, there's some hiccup there, just had to, you just have to field the objections and, get it under contract. So we were able to get past all that. So actually, I ended up telling the agent, like, why don't you just, represent her? I'll pay the commission and stuff on the deal. So, I told her from the beginning, since it was a great deal, I'm happy to pay you a finder's fee or whatever. So it was also the easiest way to pay her a commission since,
Totally.
technically agents aren't, supposed to get finder's
So
fee.
did the seller pay the agent commissions then at closing?
No, I did. So it came
Okay.
out of, so it was, and in the end, it was a $35,000 assignment at $235,000 purchase price, and then the 2.5% commission came straight out. The title company does all that, so I went home with a check for 29,100. After the paying off the commission.
Got it. So the agent got paid out of your assignment. You bought it for 230. What'd you sell it for?
So I bought it for 235. So I was originally offering 230, but I was trying to get it under contract because I figured that the other investor probably was willing to come up. He was trying to get a good deal himself, which
Sure.
he should. And then so I was able to come up, get it for 235, and then so I sent it around a little bit. I had one person that was very interested. She actually owns, I saw that she owned like, 4 very similar properties in the
How'd you
neighborhood.
find her?
So I was looking at comps, for sold, kind of flipped properties that were
Sure.
similar. And, I looked up on tax records, see who owned it. And I saw that, uh, Davis Property Group, owned it and stuff. So I looked them up. I just actually called the number on Google, and she answered, and she's the owner of the group. And, she was like, oh, very much interested. She wanted to look at it right away. It was vacant on lockbox. So she was able to, go right away and view it. And, she offered me, 270. So I had it for 235. So, minus the commission. So I was going to make, like 30,000. And, she wanted to get it, locked up pretty quick. So obviously, maybe I probably could have got, more, but, having a done deal is always a done deal. So, I was
100%.
like, I took her deal because I had a couple other people that went and viewed it, and they were, quite a bit lower as well. So, so we went under contract, sent her an assignment contract, and then she was able to. I actually got her to pay $5,000, non-refundable earnest money. So if she didn't perform on the deal or whatever, I would still get $5,000 of her earnest money. So that was all good. She herself owns a lot of properties, but obviously she can wholesale as well and does that. So she was sending it around, and so she actually assigned it to New Western, which is a bigger kind of dispo hub in the area. And so they actually assigned it to an end buyer for, looks like they bought it from her for 290. So she made 20 grand, I made 30 grand. So that's what I mean. At all these deals, even if you're JVing, there can still be, large profits available in certain deals. It just depends on the deal. So, obviously I was happy making 30 grand, and,
Oh, yeah.
so,
Man, I didn't
she,
realize that was, I think you had mentioned that to me, but I didn't realize that was a joint venture with essentially multiple people involved in the deal. So here's what I'm hearing though. Regardless of all that, multiple wins. The
yeah,
seller sold the deal and got her money back out. Win. You came in and helped her get that done and made 30 grand. Win. There was an agent on the deal that essentially connected you with her. They made 5,000. Win. Your buyer probably would have closed on it if they hadn't found a buyer to pay them over 20 grand over
yeah,
their purchase price. They made 20 grand. Win. And then there was another company that essentially assisted another buyer. Both of them probably, well, not probably, both of them created wins. That company made a little bit of money, right? And then the end buyer got a deal that they can then fix up and sell for a profit or fix up and rent out. So like 5 or 6 wins all across the board. Everybody was happy. Everybody won. What an
Yes.
awesome deal. How long did that deal take you from start to finish?
So I believe we were at like a less than 30-day close at first, and then we uh pushed it. So we were originally going to close like March 31st, and then we pushed it back till April 10th. So it was maybe like 35 days or so total, from start to finish. I think it maybe took me, I was trying to get it under contract right away because I knew there was another investor on the deal. So I think it only, I was able to get it under contract within kind of 3 days. And then so from the when the lead came in to, when it closed and everyone got their checks, it was probably 30 or 35 days.
Man, that is awesome. And that's about normal from start to finish, about, a month to give or take. So you're right in line there. And again, everybody won. So 3 days to get the deal under contract. You weren't even in town. You never met the seller. You never even went to the property on this one. How many different conversations did you have with the seller? And I know there was an agent in the beginning as well. But how many different conversations did you have from the start, from the very beginning to the point to where you were to get that contract signed with them?
Yeah, so it always having to follow up, and yeah, I mean there was quite a bit of conversations, but obviously, I mean, when you're making good money,
Oh yeah.
that's the whole business. So those, so that you should be excited about those conversations and everything. And so I mean when I got the lead, obviously talking, for intro conversation, what's kind of the situation, what's the house like, she actually sent me pictures right away, and it was already on lockbox, or it wasn't on lockbox, but she put a lockbox on there. So the agent kind of from the beginning, made it easy, took care of everything, put it on lockbox pictures, communicated fine. And then, I was like, offered 230, and the seller kind of said that would be fine and everything. And then, we didn't really want to sign a contract right away though. And so, I was kind of like, well, what, had another conversation with, her and the agent, kind of what can we do to, get this under contract and, have this be a win-win. So, I mean, I offered her what she wanted. She said she wanted 230, kind of offered her what she wanted. I mean, she had another offer at like 200, and then so I was able to come up a little bit and just get it actually under contract at 235. So we were able to do that. And then from there, just send it out. When I, like I said, I sent it out to, several people and stuff that I thought would be interested, that never really went through, my whole buyers list, or, putting it in Facebook groups or anything really. But then, the other party that I sold it to was interested. So went under contract with her, followed up with her. Obviously, I mean, I've done multiple deals with, New Western myself. So, I mean, I kind of see that it, gets sent around, which is, fine. Like, I think, one of the problems with, agents you kind of see is, they like to be in control and stuff. But I mean, if you're making 30 grand and, as long as that you're confident that the deal's going to go through, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care what they do with the deal or the contract. So I mean, I just, had a conversation with them, like, if you can't wholesale it or whatever, are you still good to go through? Like, is this a done deal? And,
And they had put
they
up
said,
5K non-refundable too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, either way, I was going to get that, and she was like, yeah, we'll buy it either way. So then it's it's kind of like, well, why would I care what they do with it? It's clearly in contract. The contracts are assignable, unless otherwise really said not. So she assigned it. I kind of saw that, and then just worked, and we had to switch. We had to get a few amendments to switch some title companies since the parties kind of changed. I originally had it under one title company, and then when I gave it to that buyer, she wanted to use her title company, and then New Western had to use their title company. So we had a
Sounds like
couple
there
of
was 3
amendments.
assignments essentially, right?
Yeah. So New Western always double closes. So,
Okay, two
mine was
assignments and a
assignment.
double close.
Yeah. So, and we had so I had two amendments with the seller, changing the date and, title companies, two different title companies twice that we had to change it to, but we were able to, work everything out and just explain it to the seller. I mean, we're paying all closing costs. We're getting this deal sold. So, the title company really shouldn't make a difference to them, just explaining that like we're paying everything. So, we want to
My
use,
partners want to use this other company. That's all you got to say.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got
So,
your partners.
obviously when you have to change it twice, it can be maybe a little harder, kind of be like, oh,
Sure.
what's kind of all the switchback, but just kind of say, oh, things changed, or maybe our exit strategy kind of switched. I'm working with a different partner, he has to use that title company, and just can generally, if the seller gets paid, at the end and the deal goes through, generally that's kind of what they want. If they're wanting to sell at a discount, discount property investor. Well, if they're wanting to sell, at a discount, generally they want the property to go through. If there's an agent involved, generally, I mean, most agents are concerned with getting paid, that's their whole business. So
Sure.
generally, if you have those two things, usually you can, convince them to do, get everything else passed and, make sure there's no problems because, the agent's going to get paid, the seller's going to get their money, the house is going to be sold. So everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy. I love it. How much earnest money did you put down with the seller?
Yeah. So, I put down $1,000. It was a little more since there was an agent involved. I knew it was a great deal. I really, I mean, I didn't know how high I was going to be able to sell it or whatever. And, I didn't do too much negotiations with the buyer that I sold it to because, she was my highest offer and, I was making good money there anyway. But, so I knew it was a good deal. I thought pretty confidently that I was going to be able to sell it no matter what at some sort of profit. So,
Sure.
I was pretty fine with, maybe putting down a little more because, the agent wasn't as familiar with kind of, the investor world. But, a lot of, if you're direct to seller, then, you only have to put down $100 or so and, it's
Sometimes
generally
even
fine.
less. Sometimes I've done
Yeah.
$10. But hey, a
Yeah.
thousand dollars is, a good amount of earnest money to let people know that you're serious. And that's what you did. You let them know that you were serious. And look where it led you. It led you to making almost 30 grand. So, and then of course you had a $5,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit from the cash buyer. So even if, the deal didn't close, you would have still netted 4,000 after your 1,000. And you might have even been able to get your 1,000 back in some cases too. So
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
way, not a big deal. Aaron, what an awesome deal. That is so awesome. You're crushing it. I love having you in the group. Thank you for coming on the show and explaining this deal. How many other properties do you have under contract at the moment?
Yeah. So yeah, I closed that one other one right before this one, and then I have one under contract now that I'm working. Just kind of working with the seller and the buyer. So we have a buyer interested. Just having to kind of make sure everything's good to go on the seller's end, and really just find their motivation to in order why they want to sell, and then be able to use that and help them get to the closing table and make it a win-win. So I have that one under contract. I have I had another one that I've been told for a little bit that I'm going to get. He's just waiting to. He's been offering on some other homes that he's trying to move to, and then he hasn't been able to win that yet. So hopefully I'll be getting that one soon if he can get another house that he's going to move to under contract. And then just
So
always
one
working
under,
leads.
a couple more than the pipeline. When did you
Yes.
start doing real estate? Like, when was the
So
first day that you're like, I want to start doing real estate?
yeah, so like September was the very start, very, very start, no experience really with wholesaling at all, very minimal experience in real estate. And then,
You've only
just
been in the game
start,
6, 7 months and you've done 10 deals already.
yeah. So, been
Phenomenal.
been very, very good.
Well, I gotta hand it to you, man. You're hustling. You're doing a lot of marketing. You're having tons of conversations with sellers. You're doing all the things that real estate investors need to do. A lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, Dave, you know, I'm not having success. And I say, okay, well, let's get you doing the activities that real estate investors do. And then it's no secret, they start having success, right? What are the activities that real estate investors do? You got to market. You got to get people on the phone that own properties or get them calling you, right? You got to make friends
Yeah.
with them. You got to make offers to them, right? If you're local, go meet them, go view the property. And then, of course, get properties under contract, market those contracts or those properties to your pool of investors. Sometimes you got to go the extra mile, which is what you did on this last deal. You started pulling comps. You started calling the investors that had sold those properties recently. That's how you found your buyer. And, that's really it. This business is incredibly simple, right? It's just you have to work the business. You have to put in a little bit of effort and some action. And the more action you put in, the more deals you're going to do. Aaron puts in a ton of action. He's a massive action taker. Hence the reason that he's done 10, 11 deals in the last 6, 7 months. He's got one under contract now. He's got a few more leads that are warm or even hot that he's going to probably get, so again, this isn't a complicated business. It's actually incredibly simple if you work hard and you take massive action. So, Aaron, amazing, awesome work. Congratulations on that 30K deal. You are crushing it. Again, we love having you in the group. Any parting words for the audience today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. Like you said, it's all about taking action, learning from failure. Imperfect action is always going to be, trying to get it perfect. Just start. You have to start somewhere, and get around people. I mean, the amount of knowledge that I've learned from Dave and his group has been, incredible. If you're trying to get started or you're already doing deals, I mean, that's where he can even really help you get to the next level as well. So, reach out to him, reach out to people and, get around them and get connected and just keep leveling up.
Man, I love it. Aaron, thank you for being here. Awesome stuff. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you and help you refine your skills, do more deals, do even bigger deals, expand into doing stuff outside of even wholesaling with you, fixing and flipping, acquiring rentals, creative finance, all these awesome strategies. It's going to be fun working with you. Again, we love having you in the group. Guys, if you want to learn more about our group, go check out discountpropertyinvestor.com/mastermind. I have a free training over at that URL. I teach all about the hidden seller method. This is a method that we use to find properties at deep discounts, ideally off the market, exactly like Aaron is using, and how you can apply to join our group and work with me. Again, that is discountpropertyinvestor.com/mastermind. Aaron, thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow on our coaching call. And with that, signing off. See you guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, please visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support, and remember, you make your money when you buy, and you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.